What's the most obvious hint a girl was interested in you, but you missed all the signs? My time to shine. I was in college in the early 90s and sitting in my dorm room alone. I was high as hell. The hot girl down the hall that I had a crush on and spoke to occasionally came to my room and asked if I would watch her dance routine. That was her final for her dance class. I was like sure and went to her room. The room was dark except for some red lighting. I sat on the couch and she put on Enigma https://www youtube.com/watch v equals 4f90x kilowatts. This was a very clear sign that I missed completely. She began her dance. She was in a unitard and I was totally hot for this girl. She did what I would now consider a personal lap dance for me. I was petrified with lust over the whole thing. When the song was over, she came over to me, about 2 inches from my face, sexy smiling, and said, "How was that?" I looked at her and said, "That was really cool. You'll do great," and left. I left. I walked back to my room and left. Years later I was driving my car to work, just daydreaming, like you do, and that memory popped up. I would have kicked myself had I been able to. Looked up at me while clinging to my arm and stating, "I could definitely see myself dating someone like you." My brain was like, neat. Maybe one day I'll find a girl who wants to go out with me after all. Apostrophe. I could definitely see myself dating someone like Jones Bitten. Twice shy. The last time I took that gamble it didn't end well. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. Not quite on the same prompt as the post, but the most obvious to me. Years ago. Just chatting with a coworker day to day. Just everyday conversation. Then one day, after another normal chit chat, passing time, casual conversation, she heads out, turns around, grabs a pen, and she writes her number on my arm and says, "Dude, call me," and walked away seemingly frustrated. I just kinda stood there with eyebrows raised, my brain turning gears, and it clicked. Ooh. Back in '84, I was working at this cool department store and this was this shy girl I'd chat it up with. I talk to anyone, so it was no big deal on my end. I was also a movie nut, so I'd say, "Hey, have you seen this or that?" and she'd give me an exasperated look and say, No, I haven't, I need someone to go with." I'd be like, well, it's a good one. We've married for 33 years. At bar about 10 years ago, she and I kept making eye contact. Every time our eyes would lock, she would smile and play with her hair. I'd just nod. She eventually came up to the bar next to me when there was no one at the front of the bar. She bumped into me after getting her drink and spilled it on my shirt. She immediately grabbed napkins and kept apologizing profusely and using the napkins to dry my shirt. I kept telling her it was fine. She offered me her number and kept saying she owed me a shirt and to contact her tomorrow and we will go get one and maybe some lunch. I refused but took her number to be polite. Never entered the number in on my phone. About 6 months went by. I found the napkin with her number in my jacket pocket from that night. I ended up texting her. Now we are married. And I've never gotten that shirt replaced to this day. Edit. Holy cow, guys. I did not expect this to blow up like it had. Thank you all for my first ever award. As for being dense, we laugh about it and she still gives me crap about it to this day. The shirt. I've gotten plenty of others in the years we have been together. Just not the one that got ruined that night. Either way, started out as a failure to launch, but ended up launching anyways. Just not when the button was pushed. One woman, she was talking to me a lot. After we started dating she admitted she was really frustrated with me. Another woman, she basically kept moving closer to me on the couch. Then she just directly asked, I, 41, learned a few weeks ago I'm autistic. I've always struggled socially. I have probably missed more, because I usually err on the side of caution. That is just the default for me. I just try to be respectful and not cause any trouble, without actually getting to know someone by talking with them. I don't know if I'm attracted to them. It is like, if I don't think things could work out long term I just don't care. As I played the organ, She would turn pages for me and brush her body against my back while moving from right to left behind the organ bench to grab the next page. I thought she was robbing me due to tight quarters between my organ and the choir loft railing. This was when I just started high school, and she was one of the first truly beautiful girls I had in my life and didn't really know the standard. She added me on Snapchat. The conversation slowly became more and more flirty. I didn't take the bait and just assumed attractive girls are flirty. So then she started sending more revealing pictures over Snap so that I'd get the point. Over these photos I just kept our casual conversation going, as if nothing was happening. This escalated until she sent me a topless photo with one hand barely covering her nipples as she sucked on a popsicle. I decided that attractive girls probably just send attractive photos, and I kept the casual conversation going because I didn't want to presume. She gave up after that. If she starts dating someone and tells you she no longer wants to chat/hang out because she's giving things a go with a new guy, there's a good chance she was interested but is now shutting that door to move on. I don't know. Must have missed the signs. I have many of these. Got what I did not realize was a booty call. Friend of a friend type deal. We'd only ever hung out at events where art peer groups happened to meet up. Honestly didn't even know she had my number. She calls me late one night, says she's got a paper due the next morning and her laptop just died. Wanted to know if I could come over and help. I'm thinking poor girl must have gone trough everyone else before calling me and head over. I get there and she's in boy shorts and a wife beat. I'm thinking this must be what she lounges in. Sit down at the laptop and promptly discover a virus. She was not expecting this. Take me a good hour to fix everything. I thanked her for the opportunity. It was a new virus, so it was interesting. I was also embarrassed it took me so long and bounced. The girl who turned on Rape Me by Nirvana while I was driving. Laid back her passenger seat, stared at me, and sang every word while touching my leg. And my response was, "Oh, you like Nirvana too? I'm surprised you know all the words to this." We had been hanging out for a bit, and she was talking about how nice her tits were. She then follows it with, "Maybe I should just show them to you." Oh no, you don't need to do that. Luckily she really liked me and kept the press on for a few more weeks, haha. We got married a few years later. A girl literally said, "Why won't you come have sex with me?" And I said, "I'm playing San Andreas." San Andreas was a very engrossing game when it was released. When this girl was fellating a popsicle while locking eyes with me, I just thought she was being hilarious. I was a moron. Can't miss any signs. If they aren't there, prostrats. Girl brought me upstairs, took off her clothes, and her friend was already in bed in her underwear too. I was on a ton of fake acid and asked where the weed was at and then walked out. My roommates, we'll call her M, best friend, we'll call L. I had the hots for her since we were in the same English class in 9th grade. Anyway, on one occasion, I remember her talking about giving blowjobs and how DS can be too big. In our apartment with just her and I, she picked up a bottle of Advil or W/E and asked me to turn away while she tried it out and confirmed that was about as big as she'd like. Some years later, M and L are having a no pants party, which involved, as the name suggests, no pants, underwear present, and copious amounts of alcohol. I was upstairs during this because I didn't want to creep on them. I had run out of water/tea/soda or W/E I was drinking, so I needed to go downstairs. I try to be quiet about it, but they yell salonatics as I come down the stairs. I'm cordial and all, but head to the kitchen to refill my beverage. On my way back, Elle is on the floor in a matching set of silky green lingerie. She holds her foot up to stop me and tells me I need to comply with the no pants rule. In doing so, she grazes my D and asks if I'm wearing any underwear under my gym shorts. I reply sheepishly with a no to explain why I was going to ignore the rule. They are both obviously very gone with alcohol, to the point that Elle is sloppily eating Chinese food on the floor to abate the inebriation she's feeling. I stay for conversation, But eventually we all head upstairs because it's pretty late. Elle follows me to my room, which I didn't think much of because there's a mini fridge outside my door where we kept sodas. She then convinced me to play a game, I forget the name, in which we twist each other's nipples in turn. I'm a wimp, I don't do BDSM. Suffice to say my interest in touching her nipples quickly waned after the first couple twists of my own nipples. This was the end of the night for me. Looking back, I get the feeling there was a chance for more. Problem was she did not hold back on the titty twisters. Started hanging out with a really attractive girl my senior year of high school. She kept talking about how she needed to find a prom date, and I told her about how I was running into the same problem. Ended up asking her to help me find a date, and she set me up with a friend. Later found out she wanted to go with me and have some fun after. Very much preferred her, and my date ended up ditching me periodically throughout the prom. I will note though, that she did have a boyfriend at the time, so I did the morally right thing lol. When I was about 16 a girl was flirting with me like crazy and even gave me a condom. I remember thinking it was such an odd gift. Beginning of freshman year, my family would always tell me to be careful who I touch. Sexual harassment is not good. Didn't know why they kept mentioning that. Wasn't as social in the first place anyways. Had PE, weightlifting. Sophomore girl way out of my league, came to me to spot her. She dragged the bar down so fast I touched her breasts. Few seconds in I noticed her smiling and winked at me and I backed off. Said I was sorry and got scared that I would be called in for sexual harassment. She still tried to talk to me and I ended up shrugging it off like an idiot. So yeah. She's pressing her boobs on my arms. She loves walking besides me. I didn't get the hit. I thought she's just being friendly. I'm stupid. Stopped at a neighborhood bar after work before driving home one day. Wanted to play a game or two of pinball. There's a girl using the machine. So I stand a couple feet away until she's finished. Her game ends. She turns to me and says, "Do you want to play the machine?" I'm just waiting for my clothes to finish drying at the laundromat next door, then I'm walking home. They're probably done by now. I say, genuinely curious. "You're walking home carrying laundry?" She says, "Yeah, it's pretty close, but I wouldn't mind a little help." She folds the laundry, puts it in a basket, and we head out with me carrying the basket. Her apartment is about half a block away, maybe 2 minutes walk. So we get there, and I set the basket down on the porch and say, "There you go. See ya." She says, "Oh, let me repay you. I'll grab a joint from my apartment and we can smoke it here on the porch," which we do while chatting. When it was finished, she said, "Being high makes me horny. How about you? And would you mind carrying the basket up to my apartment?" I carry it up. She gets me a drink of water, and I sit in the kitchen. She changes her clothes into something skimpier, and we talk a bit more. Then she said, "Stand up." I do. She undoes my belt, takes my pants down, pushes me down on the chair again, and gets on her knees to blow me. I can't understand what the heck is going on. It's like a switch got flipped. Anyway, after more activities I end up leaving about 2 AM. The next day I retell the tale to my coworker and point out how shocked I was that she grabbed for my belt, etc. He laughs and points out the numerous hints that preceded it that I was oblivious to. Tells me that if I hadn't been so clueless she wouldn't have had to be so bold. I was just divorced and getting used to dating again. My game was very off as I hadn't dated in over a decade. After like my second or third after the divorce she texted me. "I just played with myself the whole drive home thinking of you." My response, "Sounds like fun. Good night." We did not go on another date. In high school I had a girl call my parents' house after looking it up in the phone book and calling my relatives because she didn't know my parents' names. They gave her the right number to call. It was a Friday night and I didn't have any plans. She asked if I wanted to go camping cause her and some friends were going. I said no, I don't have any alcohol. She said I could have some of everyone's. Then I said I don't have any camping equipment to use. She said I could use hers. Also, being as broke as I was, didn't have any money, so I said I don't have money to buy gas for my truck. She said she would give me money It all sounded like it'd be taking too much, and I said thanks but no. The next week her friends filled me in on how she had a crush on me and really wish I was there. I had no clue. She invited me to her hotel room to show me a research paper I expressed an interest in. This happened at an academic conference in my city. I asked her to email it to me instead. My friend explained how awkward I'd made it for everyone later, because we went out drinking afterwards, and the whole time I had no idea I'd just rejected this new acquaintance. So I socialized with her normally. Well, normally for a huge nerd. I would have immediately understood the implication if it was a guy, but for some reason I miss hints very easily with women. I used to think they were more subtle, but maybe my guard is just lower. I was in a Starbucks in Argentina, and the girl taking my order asked my name to write on the cup. She didn't understand what I said, and when I picked the cup up, it said Digo, which isn't my name. Later that night I was chatting with a cute 20-something girl in the bar, and I retold that story, and she looked at me with sultry eyes, her top slightly undone, and said something like, "What would Digo do with me tonight that wouldn't?" It caught me completely off guard, and I said something stupid in return. It was like being in the final minutes of the Super Bowl, being tossed the game-winning ball, only to fumble it in the end zone on live TV. I've lived with that regret a long time, haha. What could have been?